Hello and welcome to another KurtzPel video. I'm Zelp and today we are going to rant about this game. I'm just kidding. We are actually going to talk about some of the things that I feel like the game could improve. Now, there's a lot of way of looking at it. I'm not really saying that the game is bad. I'm just saying that there are things that they can make it even better. And these things are not things that I feel like they need a lot of testing to be able to pull off. It's not like balancing characters where you need a lot of experience and a lot of trial. I'm gonna talk about things that even as a new player, you come in and you realize this thing and you'll be like, why? Why is it like that? You know, there's like a better way. Can't they do that? You know, those kind of questions. And so hopefully with this, it's going to create awareness. It's going to help if the developers were to see this video, they would consider fixing it. And as the viewers, you guys, you can help as well by sharing the video, liking the video. Now, whether or not you agree, also let me know down at the comments and we better start. So the first thing I want to talk about is in-game chat. I don't really know why the developers did not include this. A lot of games even before this has them. I realized like some games do not have them, but even so, I couldn't really tell what's the reason. Is it because this is just something that I think might be the reason, is that people tend to get toxic to one another simply because someone is not doing what they think is supposed to be done and they don't like it, so they might end up cursing and stuff like that. So can that be the reason for not having in-game chat? I feel like if that is the reason, it should be looked away, because even right now, I don't know if you guys got this before, but if you mess up in a particular mission, someone's gonna give you that thumbs up and you know you messed up. It's like a very sarcastic thumbs up over and over again, and in that sense it's already toxic, right? But I feel like being able to chat is so much more powerful, because if you mess up, at least they can tell you what you did wrong. Or if you're new, they can help you, they can teach you. Or if let's say you do not know how to dodge a boss, they can ask you to, like I can ask someone to, oh, you can just be the offensive and I'll lure the attacks of the boss and dodge it, it's fine, things like that. So it could be a very positive thing, and I feel like it's something that is really required in a game like this, considering there's no solo PvE, there's no 1v1 PvP as well if you exclude the customs. So if the game is trying to force us to work together, we need to at least be able to talk to each other. That is just something that I feel is important. Okay, on to the next thing. Next thing will be the training ground. Now, as someone that is relatively new, I come to the training ground really often, trying to perfect some of the combos, trying to see what works and what doesn't. And the thing is, I don't know if you guys experience this as much as I do, but the window of you being able to go in, so over here you can't go in, right? Over here you still can't go in. Okay, so here you can, and then somewhere here, yeah, somewhere here you can't again. So there is this small window, and I believe it's like a sphere, because if you move out one tiny step, you cannot go in anymore. You'll realize that if you come here, it doesn't work as well. But one thing weird is that if you move out one tiny step, when you jump, it allows you to go in, and then it does not again. So there is like a small spear in front where you have to press on it in order to go in. Now, as I'm running towards this place, a lot of times I will actually end up sliding, and when I press space, I end up jumping instead of going in. And this is actually an issue that I feel like is already been pointed out, is that the interact button and the jump button is the same thing. I also heard it from someone just today, where I asked him, what do you think that the game needs to improve on? And this is something that he mentioned as well, and he seems to be someone that has been playing this game for way longer than I have. So because the interact button and the jump button is the same button, sometimes you end up like jumping above someone's dead body, because instead of reviving, you end up jumping, or if you want to jump away, you end up reviving, and it just really mess things up. So they should have a separate key for that. But I also understand the developer's point of view. They have this game for consoles as well, so console players do not have that many keys, so they need to use certain keys over and over again, and maybe this is one of the keys that is suitable. But I feel like since we are playing, or at least there is a big majority of people who are playing not on consoles, then they should have some luxury of being able to set it to a different key at least. So that is something that I think they know about it. They might be working on it. I'm not too sure. Okay, so back to the training ground. What I'm trying to say here is that there's a small window, and when I started playing this game, I always missed and I couldn't seem to get in. On top of that, when you come over here, it prompts you, asks you press space if you want to enter. When you press space, it prompts you again, asking like to confirm, do you want to enter? And then you have to click another button in order to go in. Now I feel like that is all really unnecessary, considering that if you happen to wander all the way to this edge of the lobby, you know, this corner of the lobby, and you do not want to enter the training ground, you probably wouldn't be here. So maybe it would be just so much easier if they can make it such that the moment you touch it, you go in. And it's kind of like how you transition from one map to another in a lot of games. So I feel like that would be really cool if they can do that. Now I also understand that the training ground might be host, or the way the platform works is a little bit different. It might be a local thing, and it may pose a challenge, and that's why there is all these problems. But it's still something that I feel like is worth mentioning. Also, as someone that likes to test things out a lot, I feel like when you go into the training ground, it would be such a good idea to allow you to somehow view the skills that you have, you know, change the skills, change the subcomma, change your weapons and equipment. If you are able to change these things in the training ground, you can do so much testing in a short amount of time, and I feel like that is also something very desirable from, you know, from an average player like me. Now the next thing that I want to talk about is actually selecting channel. When you're in the game, you can actually select channel by, in my case, press F, and then you can choose what channel you want to go to. The problem to me is that when you try to enter the game, from clicking start game and then to selecting your character and then to coming in, you do not get to choose what channel to come into, so the game kind of just puts you wherever it wants to put you. And for my case, a lot of times I get put into a very popular place, and my computer is not really that good, so it tends to lag in those situations. On top of that, you get all kinds of chat coming in, and as a somewhat content creator, there's a lot of times you do not want to have all this weird chat going on because you don't know how many of it is appropriate and stuff like that. So for me, I like to go to a place where it is less populated. Now there is an option where you can go to a single channel, but I realized that every time I go to a single channel and then I go into a mission, or maybe even just going to the training ground, when I come out, it just puts me back into a different channel again. So I tend to look for those less populated and go in. But even with that, sometimes it still puts me back to a more populated place. And I just don't really like that feeling. I feel like if I choose to go somewhere quiet, they should respect that and let me stay there. So, you know, maybe apply some kind of tracking to see where you were last at the lobby and put you back there. I think that is only fair, unless the channel closed down, because sometimes the channel expands, sometimes the channel becomes smaller depending on the demand, which I understand. So yeah, unless it closed down and puts you somewhere else, I could understand. But if it doesn't close down, it's still there, it still moves you, I don't know why it does that. So that would be something really cool if I could choose where I want to go the moment I come in, so I do not have the unnecessary chat on my screen, so that I do not lag when I go in and then try to lag back out to another channel. Yeah, that would be really cool. The next thing I want to talk about is to make a recently entered mission list. So every time when you come over here, you do a mission. It can be anything. So just so you guys know, PvE in this game, I feel like this game is more of a PvP game, but there are players here playing the PvE aspect of it, you know, hunting gears, and that is one of the main things that people want. If they were to play PvE, they kind of want to be able to hunt gears. So there might be something that you are preferred to go in to hunt, or maybe there's just something that you want. I'm gonna just give an example. Let's say you want this horn and you want to keep grinding on it. The problem with, I don't know why this is happening, but the problem is that, let's say right now I queue and I did it and I'm done. The next time when I come back here, it may not be in the second page. It might end up in the third page, it might end up in the fourth page. All the mission just keeps running around like they have no control of themselves, and they just fly between pages, and sometimes my first page is something else. However, the PvP and the Blazing Blade and also the two what do you call this, illusion missions will always stay here. This one, along with all the others, will seem to always jumble around, and I don't like that because it's hard to find, especially since now we have like 4 pages. Before it's only 3, and now you have 4 pages. In the future you might have 5, and it's just gonna get harder and harder to locate which mission you're actually trying to grind on. My suggestion is to be able to add like a list of favorite missions. So let's say you like the Intrusion of Dark Elves, right? So you go over here, just like the PvP where there's preference, you click over there and maybe you can add as favorite, and maybe there's a new tab here that says favorite missions, and then go in and you have the list of those things that you choose. And I feel like that would make things so much easier, and something that doesn't need players to constantly be trying to hunt down where the mission is right now. So that is something else that I feel like could change. Now the next one is going to be about this is going to be the last one, so I'm gonna make like 3 videos. This 2 of them is the general stuff that I'm talking right now. One of it is more on the PvP stuff, and then finally maybe I'll make one more, and that will be about the future stuff, like what they can kind of implement to the game to make it even better. And all this will be based on, you know, the kind of niche players that like the game for what it is, because there are certain players here that are playing not for the PvP. So what do they actually play this game for, and then try to implement certain contents for them. And I feel like those are important as well, so maybe, just maybe, we'll do one on that as well. Now the last thing that I'll talk about is about SubCrystals. So if you come over here, you have all these SubCarma, which is kind of like a passive for your for the skills that you're gonna use. And it's very annoying because, let's say I put a damage karma crystal here, right? And then I want to change, I want to give my ice wall the damage increase SubCarma crystal. The problem is I don't know which one to click. If I click the one that's being used over here, it'll just pull this one over here, which is great because that's what I want. And you cannot have more than 2 of the you cannot have more than 1 of the same SubCarma crystal for each weapon. But if I click the wrong one, I'll end up trying to pull this one, and then you realize that there's already one here, and then it just removes this one but doesn't place it over here. So let's see, like that, right? It says cannot equip, and then it just removes from my weapon. And I feel like it's so much handier if they could, after each of the SubCarma crystal is equipped by certain equipment, just put a small indication, like a note what weapon is being equipped on. So like in this case, it's being equipped by the Rookie Chaser Staff. Then it would say, you know, somewhere over here at the description, equipped, and then maybe a bracket, Rookie Chaser Staff. I feel like that will make things so much easier, because for me, again, I like to test things out a lot, so I tend to move a lot of things around, and a few of the things that I move around the most is the reset cooldown and also the decrease cooldown. And a lot of times both of my weapons actually use them, and then I tend to have trouble trying to switch them around simply because of this issue. So having it prompt saying that equipped and equipped on what weapon will make this so much easier. Should I go for another one? Because right now I actually have a list right in front of me that I've compiled over time. Okay, let's go through one more. So Ensure here, she allows you to track certain hero chasers, right? The problem is that at some point you're going to be able to complete one hero, and by complete I mean you get all the rewards that you want from him, and you do not want to track him anymore. The problem is they always put the one that has the highest score, I guess, the highest score that you have been tracking in front. And that is just kind of annoying, because every time you click on her, you have to scroll to the back or scroll to the second one, whichever that is not complete, to do those that is incomplete. And it's not going to be the first one. So my suggestion is to put the one that has the one that's not complete in front, at least, okay? Because I can understand if, let's say, there's a particular one that you're trying to track, and you have been tracking for quite a while, it's still not maxed yet, you want it to be in the first slot. Sadly, I couldn't click on it to show you guys because I've already clicked and chosen something. Oh wait, maybe I can kind of like show it over here instead. Okay, so like right now I'm chasing this one, tracking this one. But as you can see, my lime is already maxed out, but it is at the first of the list. So if I talk to Ensure, this one's gonna pop up first. And remember that whole lag situation that I talked about with my PC going to a channel with a lot of people. So many times, it's not just once, that I come over to Ensure and I click, and I accidentally, due to the lag, I accidentally click an extra click, and I ended up tracking lime again. And I do not want to, because I've already have all her goods. So I feel like that's kind of annoying. So I feel like they should put the chasers who are complete in terms of affinity to be all the way at the back. Okay, either that or allow us to somehow unselect it. Because right now, in a weird way, I unselected Jin and also Marion by putting them at the side, because I've already maxed them out. But you have to hold up to 6 at a time. And I feel like that is a restraint, a limitation that I also do not like. So I cannot remove her, or at least I don't know how. I only can switch them from one another. So yeah, I feel like having the one that has the highest to be in front, but not the one that is complete. The one that is complete should go all the way to the back. That would make things so much easier for us to try and complete all of them. With that, I think we can end this simple video. So these are the things that I'm talking about, small changes that I feel like can make things really convenient for players and overall have a better experience, not having mistakes like clicking it over and over again, or trying to get in a portal when there's no other reasons why you would be there, to not go into the training ground, for example, or maybe trying to switch between SubCrystals but having all this conflict. So yeah, so these are some of the things that I'll be talking about. There are more on my list, and we're going to talk about in the next video. And hopefully, if you agree, again, share it with someone, give it a thumbs up, and hopefully it'll come true. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.